Welcome back to IntyCenter, everybody. Make sure you go out and vote today. We're going to have our typical touch every game because it's only 3 games per team, whip around Fideuce. Coming to you this time from, of course, your basement dwelling crier. That's me. Anyways, on to the games this week because we had some tremendous action. And we'll start with another late error, making it look like that was going to doom Madrigal. This time it was an error by Oyster Burns that let Pudge Rodriguez reach base in the 8th inning. And that lets the tying run score for Stone Temple Seattle Pilots. In the bottom of the 9th, though, Burns would get a chance to redeem himself. And with 1 out, he would, he would not redeem himself. He would fly out to right field. But 1 pitch later, George Gore would get perhaps the most exciting walk-off in baseball, the walk-off inside the park homer, giving a highly dramatic 4-3 win to Madrigal. Jet Clements hit a 3-run homer in the 4th inning to knock bandwagoner starter Felix Hernandez out of the game. A couple of batters later, Ross Barnes hit a 2-run homer to welcome Goose Gossage to the game properly. A shack of their own led 7-0 after 4. They never looked back. They topped the bandwagoners 11-4. 7 innings pitched, 1 run allowed on 7 hits. That's a good formula for amazings when they get it from J.R. Richard. Add to that three ribbies from Charlie Blackwell, and it all leads to a tidy 5-1 series opening win over the Barrels. Yogi Berra had a homer and a double. Ernie Banks and Sammy Sosa both homered, and Let's Play 2 cruised to a win over the Gales in November in their series opener. More worrisome than the loss for the Gales, though, Josh Gibson left the game with an undisclosed injury. The Demon Bags, they're used to winning low-scoring games, so it's not the 1 run they got off Vita Blue that was the problem. It was the 5 given up by Roy Halladay, plus 2 more given up by Mark Fydrick. Larry Walker, Dick Allen, and Hack Wilson each drove in a pair. The Enhancers take that game 7-1. Pete Alexander was great for Game of Throws. He went the distance. He gave up 1 run on 5 hits. He struck out 7. He did walk a pair. Archie Vaughn hits his 25th homer of the season. Throws win it 3-1. 3 singles and a double-plated 2 runs and chased Warren Spahn in the 6th inning. He gave up 5 runs, 4 of them earned on the night, and Sithy couldn't overcome that, with Tom Glavine giving up 3 runs in 7 innings. And Sparky Lyle got the 6-out save. Siorak takes it 5-3. Now, as we said in the first game recap, the Demon Bags are used to low-scoring games. So when Pud Galvin gave up 1 run on 5 hits in 7 innings, and Kevin Appier was scoreless in relief, it didn't necessarily doom them. And this time, it actually didn't. That's because Slim Jones was the freaking man in this one. A complete game shutout 4-hitter, just 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. The only run of the game comes from who else? Cleveland's own Ed Delahunty. The Demon Bags take it by my favorite scoreline, 1-0. Of all of Heel's crazy win probability charts, well, this was one of them. Go check it out on the box scores. The Bandwagoners were up 4-0 heading into the 8th inning. Ted Williams hit a 3-run homer off Clayton Kershaw. It was suddenly 4-3. We'd still be at 4-3 in the 9th inning, and then, God, the game really hates you, Heels. Rod Beck gives up a 2-run single to Ross Barnes to walk it off. A shack of their own steals it 5-4. Satchel Paige gave up 3 runs in 7 innings, while CC Sabathia gave up 4 runs in 7 innings. That was literally the difference. Sometimes baseball really is that simple. Amazings down Interstate 75, 4-3. Ty Cobb had a nice game, a double and a triple in that one. Al Kaline and Thurman Munson each hit 2-run homers off Frank Viola, who lasted just 3 innings. Larry Doby added 2 solo shots against his former team, and Siorak take their 2nd in a row from Sithy, 7-4. Billy Hamilton and King Kelly went back-to-back on homers in the 2nd inning that put the Fenley Madrigal up 4-0 early. They'd never looked back thanks to a strong but short start from Kevin Brown. And despite Matt Kilroy giving up 3 runs and registering 0 outs, they do win it 7-4. Breaking news, but Jon Snow might know something after all. He sent up Alex Bregman as a pinch hitter, and he delivers a 2-run single to cap a 5-run inning. Game of Throws topped the Baby Yodas 8-6. Last game on day 2 of this week, Andy Cooper was fantastic on the mound for the Gales. He goes 8 innings. He gives up 1 run on 8 hits. They needed him to be, as they managed just 2 runs off Let's Play 2-starter Fergie Jenkins. Joe Nathan uses a double play to erase a leadoff walk in the 9th. Gales in November win it by a tight 2-1 scoreline. Moving on to our last day, and after scoring a grand total of 2 runs in the first 2 games of the series, the Demon Bag settled in to face Old Hoss Radbourne in the rubber match, and of course, they chased Radbourne in the 5th inning. The Demon Bags had gone 12 up and 12 down until the 5th inning when they went single, triple, single, double, sac fly, walk, single. That last single made it 5 runs in the inning on 5 hits. John Stewart replaced Radbourne with Gaylord Perry. Grasshopper Jim would toss a complete game. He'd give up 2 runs while he scattered 10 hits. Demon Bags take it 8-2. Now, one would expect Stone Temple Seattle Pilots to put up a lot of zeros on the scoreboard when Pedro Martinez starts. And they did in this one. In all but 1 inning, Madrigal scored no runs. The bad news for Tom, in the 1 inning where they did, that was the 4th inning, they saw 7 runs get plated and they knocked Pedro out of the game. Down 7-2, the Pilots would fight back and they'd get the tying run to the plate with nobody out in the 9th inning. But Al Orth would strike out Bill Lang and Willie Mays to end the game. Madrigal hang on. They get the 7-5 win. They sweep the Pilots. Stone Temple Seattle Pilots have lost 4 in a row. They've lost 8 of their last 10, and they're now 8-13 in the month of August. I'm not saying it's the curse of Big Ed, but I'm also not saying it's not the curse of Big Ed. A Shack of Their Own seem to have some kind of Hail Hydra voodoo going on. Every time a player gets hurt, whoever replaces them seems to come up big. Case in point is Harry Stovey. He gets a clutch RBI single in the 7th inning. That puts him up 5-4 on the bandwagoners. Cy Blanton and Eric Gagne would make sure that lead holds up. Gagne converts his 29th save of the season, and a Shack of Their Own sweeps the bandwagoners with that 7-4 win. Babe Ruth struck out 10 in 7 innings of work while allowing 1 run on 2 hits. Frankie Frisch had 2 RBI, and Ty Cobb and Nolan Arenado each had 3 hits. Amazings win at 8-2 to sweep the Orange Barrels, and they remain in the driver's seat for one of those wild card spots. Bullet Rogan was back in prime form. He delivered maybe his best start of the year. He goes 8 innings, blanking Let's Play 2 on just 2 hits. He struck out 6 and walked 1. Ron Santo hit a 2-run homer off Greg Maddux in the 1st inning. Gales in November wins it 4-0. A Toad Ramsey gem, 8 innings pitched, 2 runs allowed on 5 hits and 7 Ks. Wasn't enough, as it couldn't stop the Baby Yodas from losing their 6th straight game. That's because Spud Chandler was an ace on the night, giving up 1 run in 8 innings of work. Game of Throws get the win 2-1, and they sweep the Baby Yodas. Joe DiMaggio homered, and that pushed his team to a 5-3 lead in the 8th as they look to avoid getting swept by his old team. But Brian Wilson blows the save. He gives up a 2-run double to Bert Campaneris, and tied at 5, we go into extra innings. We'd get to the 11th inning, and that's where Bullet Joe Bush walks the first 2 batters he faces. He does get a couple of flyouts, but Dobie Moore comes up with runners on the corners with 2 outs. He singles, that scores Brian McCann. It walks it off, and Scythie avoid the sweep. That's going to do it for IntyCenter this week. Once again, it's election day. Get out there, vote. If you're watching this on any day other than election day, mark down the next election day and make sure you vote on it. We'll see you next time for another whip around. Fidus.